Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Louisville, where our mission is to transform ourselves and the world through love. I am Reverend Ray Nelson. I'm the senior minister here, and it is my honor and privilege to be a member of this community. And I welcome each and every one of you who's here today, and if you're watching this live stream, welcome. So we always like to acknowledge some of the people who are on service today who help us do all that they do so that I can just stand up here and talk, which is what I do best, probably. So we have Sue back on our soundboard and James on our PowerPoint. We have our ushers, our greeters. Because it's the first of the month, we have our name tag people. Yay, God, love my name tag people. For meditation, we have William Driscoll will be speaking. We have our pianist, Julie Paulsmeyer. Our song leaders are our music director, Phil Crowther, and his beloved wife, Lisa Wilbanks. And our special music today is Tyrone Cotton. Yay. We are truly blessed. So let's go ahead and open in prayer. So let's just settle into our chairs and get comfortable and take a breath. Allow that breath to connect you to where you are right now, to that being present, to this moment. We set aside any busyness of the day and anything that may be coming, anything that came before or that may be coming after, and allowing ourselves to be present to this moment, to hearing the music, the meditation, and the message, and allow what we hear to move us, to inspire us, to bring us into a deeper awareness of that presence, that power of God in our lives. We are so grateful for this opportunity to come together freely in worship, to explore our spiritual journey in that open and expressive manner, free of judgments, free of any guilt, simply allowing ourselves that freedom to explore, to deepen that awareness. And for that awareness of the presence, that power that guides us always, we say, thank you, God. And can we say that together? Thank you, God. One more time. Thank you, God. One final time. Thank you, God.
Please stand and join us for Morning as Broken. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the word.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Unity of Louisville is an inclusive, compassionate, prosperous spiritual community, seeing the unlimited possibilities in all people. And for that reason, we like to, one of my favorite things to do actually is just to greet anyone who's taken it out of their time to be with us for the very first time. So if you're a first-time visitor, would you just bless us by letting us know who you are by raising your hand? All right, we got a couple down here. So as ushers get to you, we have a packet of information for you. It has some information about the Unity movement. It also has some information about this Unity Church. There is a card that if you fill it out, take it down to our welcome desk, one of our welcome ministries or one of the board of trustees will be giving you a little gift. There is a candle, which is a gift from the congregation so that we can acknowledge you and notice who you are today and answer all your questions. There's an affirmation. On that affirmation, it says to remind you that as you light this candle, that Christ's light already shines within you. But one of the things I like to remind everyone, but especially for those who are here for the first time, that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We welcome you, we bless you, we behold the living presence of God in you. Can we greet our first-time guests? And as that welcoming and inclusive community, we also like to greet each other. Today I want you to take a special note, and if you can take time to greet Deanna Payne. It's her birthday today, so make sure you say happy birthday to her. And also to know that everybody's on a different place on their spiritual journey, so we can greet each other with a handshake, we can do it with a hug, we can do it with a wave, we can do it with a blessing, but always ask before you hug. Let's greet each other.
Morning has broken like first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass.
Thank you, and you all may be seated. And we always anchor our service with an affirmation. Today we're doing two. We're doing our vision, but we're also going to do the 12th power, which in the month of June is imagination. So our vision, and we will say these together. Together, Unity of Louisville is an inclusive, prosperous, compassionate community celebrating oneness and infinite possibilities and the power of imagination together, I envision good unfolding in every area of my life. And now as we move into a time of prayer and meditation with the singing of the Lord's Prayer, know that at the conclusion of the Lord's Prayer, there will be a time of silence as our oneness blessers and energy workers bless the congregation.
Our Creator, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
And so it is. A reading of the daily word for Sunday, June the 3rd. The word is divine order. The order of spirit is always unfolding. The order of spirit is always unfolding if I have eyes to see. I may mistakenly focus on appearances. Prayer is not a magic wand, but a way for me to change how I see things. I close my eyes and shift my vision to a bigger picture of the activity of the divine in and through me. I open my mind to new revelations of Spirit's good. With each breath, divine energy lives as me. I gratefully surrender to the spiritual certainty that my life is in divine order. Like seedlings growing in fertile soil, new thoughts of harmony and abundance take root in my mind. I see with greater clarity the order constantly unfolding. And from Daniel, he changes times and seasons. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. And the daily word is divine order.
In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
So now, I invite you to take this moment to relax. Get into a comfortable position and be here in this moment. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Feel the seat beneath you, the gentle breeze on your skin. Breathe in and breathe out and let it go. And I invite you, if you have not already done so, to just allow your eyes to close and feel the energy and space around you. Let go of those thoughts and worries and judgments and expectations. You don't need them here. Just set them aside for this moment. Put down any burdens or stories you may have. If you choose, you can always pick them up again. But for now, just let them go. Give them back to God. Breathe in. Breathe out and be here now. Notice who you are when you set those aside. And as we go into the silence, perhaps ask to be reminded of who you really are in this moment and all the rest. Allow the divine energy to live in you as we let go and go into the silence. that you are a divine child of God. Spirit always unfolding in divine order and trust. For where your treasure be, there your heart will be also. Everything on our heart is already done, growing in the fertile soil, constantly unfolding. And as you come out, I invite you to take these truths with you. Being the divine beings that you are, and the treasures that you be, now and always. So it is.
When the road gets dark and you can no longer see, just let my love throw you a spark and have a little faith in me. And when the tears you cry, all that you can believe, just give these loving arms a try and have a little faith in me. 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 And when your secret heart cannot speak so easily, come here from a whisper star and have a little faith in me. And when your back's against the wall, just turn around and you will see I will catch you fall. Just have a little faith in me. 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 a little faith in me. Well, I've been loving you for such a long time now, expecting nothing in return for you. Just have a little faith in me. You see, time is our friend, but there's no end. And all you gotta do is have a little faith in me. See, I will hold you up, I will hold you up. All you gotta do is have a little faith in me.
Thank you, Tyrone. It reminds me that we don't have to have a lot of faith. We only have to have a little faith. And Spirit takes care of the rest of it. But we have to have that faith. So we continue our book study of Jerry Boylan's Christ in Training. And I don't know about you. How many of you have read the book? Good for you. It's a great little book. It reminds me that things don't have to be big and thick and complicated to be chock full of everything you need. And the thing that I like about it is it is a training program for our spiritual exploration and for our spiritual discovery. It really, if we do the work, we shift our thinking, we shift who we are, and we shift who we're being in the world, and we start living out of the truth of who we are, that Christ presence, that truth that we are divine, to know and experience God. Teilhard de Chardin said that we are all on an evolutionary spiritual spiral, ever expanding consciousness, moving in ever greater awareness of that presence and power of God. And as we do this training, we begin to learn and move into that deeper awareness. And today, here's going to be the paradox. You get to let it all go. Because today we're going to talk about non-attachment. So you get to let go of that things you've made up about your journey. You get to let go of all those things you've made up about your spiritual nature. You get to let go of all of that. Because every time you have an attachment to anything, that attachment becomes that barrier between you and that deeper understanding. Meister Eckhart said that, in kind of as a precursor before we ever learned about the dark night of the soul, said that you start stripping away everything. You strip away all the things. You strip away all the thoughts. You strip away all the beliefs. You strip away everything else, including God. Because God is a concept that you have. You strip all that away and lay yourself naked before Spirit. And the only thing left then is God. Beyond the concepts, beyond the things that limit us. Jerry tells us that almost every spiritual tradition has a teaching throughout the ages about letting go, about non-attachment. The most famous, of course, is the Buddhists. Our attachments. Life is suffering, and the cause of suffering is our attachments. But Jesus tells us, do not store for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust consume and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And he wasn't just talking about things. He was saying, let go. Don't store up. Let go. And this is another one of the paradoxes. This doesn't mean you can't have stuff. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. You can enjoy life to the fullest. Did anybody read the gospel and notice that Jesus was always at a party? Everywhere he went, people gathered around him. There was food, there was wine. As my first minister said, they would change water into wine, and if I showed up, they would change the wine into water, but it was still a party. You know, he always has people around him, and he was having a ball. And if you notice Buddha, he's always smiling. You ever notice the Dalai Lama? He's always smiling. He's always laughing. He finds life to just be a joy. The difference is they don't let their desires, they don't let their thoughts, they don't let their things stand in the way. They're willing to release everything so that they can have everything. In Luke, I'm not going to read Luke, it's too long. But in Luke, he tells the story of the rich man who came to Jesus. And he says, what do I need to do to be a follower of you? And he said, you need to love your Lord God with all your heart, all your mind as your soul, to put spirit first, to follow the law, to live the commandments. And he says, I have done this all my life. And he says, what else is there? And he says, there's one last thing. You need to sell all your goods, all your property, give it to the poor. Then you can follow me. And he was very sad, and he went away because he was a very rich man who owned many things. Now, some have interpreted that to mean that Jesus is saying that to be a spiritual person, we have to be poor. And that wasn't the point. He was pointing at this man and says, your attachment to your stuff is the thing that is stopping you from taking that next step. Your attachment to all your worldly goods is stopping you. Remember, Robin got in a car wreck, and I think I've told this story before. She was T-boned. And I was up north. Reverend Gwen was graduating from the urban school, so I was up north. I walked out of the dinner, and I get a phone call. As soon as I walk out the door, the phone rings. I go, hi, honey, what's up? She says, I was just T-boned in an accident. My car's totaled. I said, oh, wow, are you okay? Yeah, I said, what are you doing? She says, well, I'm sitting here on the side of the road consoling this poor girl who's completely distraught. I said, okay. And then a little while later, she called me and she says, and now I'm consoling the mother who's very upset with her daughter for destroying her car, and she's very upset. And I said, well, what about the car? Car's just metal. We can replace the car. I'm okay, they're okay, so life's okay. She got the fact that the thing that she loved was her freedom, and her ability to drive around in her car was gone. But it didn't matter because she was okay, and we could make choices from there. Personally, I'll just go personal, I have no problem letting go of stuff. Robin will even say, I let go of so much stuff. I let go of stuff that I probably shouldn't be letting go of because we still need it. But that's neither here nor there. My last divorce, if I wouldn't have had my bed with me, I could have moved in my little Focus, which is a 2-door hatchback, because I had nothing but my clothes. My clothes and about 4 books, and that was it. I let go of stuff, doesn't matter. Boy, if you challenge a thought, you challenge a way I think, a belief about myself, we're in for a fight. And I don't mean a physical fight. I will resist you because I'm attached to that story about myself. And at what cost does that happen when we have our attachments? It costs us peace of mind. It costs us joy. And it costs us more than that. It costs us the ability to transform and transcend into higher states of awareness. I wrote about this in a blog a couple weeks ago. I'm a cynic. I've been a cynic my whole life. I'm almost 64 years old. I grew up cynical. I didn't, politicians, the world, business. I'm a cynic. I should be from Missouri. You got to prove it to me. So I'm a cynic. So I don't always trust everything right out of the gate. So when I was chaplaincy for the Unitine retreat, I have this belief, of course, because I was in service to you, you're going to thank me. Oh, okay, you're going to thank me. I'll be gracious and I'll accept your thanks, but it's not going to land anywhere on my heart because it was expected, because I'm a cynic. I have this belief about myself. And I think I might have told this story, and I don't care because it's so powerful, because I've actually felt it transformed me. The kids, these Unitine kids, they're 11 and 12 and 13 years old. They don't know me at all. And they turned to me and gave me a unity blessing. We love you. We bless you. We behold the living. We truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ as you. And I never experienced unconditional love at that level ever. I literally had to close my eyes to it because it was almost overwhelming to allow it to come in. And I actually felt physically something click in me, something shift in me that said, you know, being a cynic is just a belief. You can let it go, bonehead. You know, I'm a little hard on myself. So I switched and I allowed myself to just experience. And as I've moved through my days, I've allowed myself to notice when I fall back into an old habit and switch it back. So, well, that's that story. So, our attachments are our ego's yearnings for safety and security. And the way the ego keeps you safe and secure, it keeps you exactly how you are. It doesn't even matter how miserable you are, it's known. And as long as it's known, it can be predicted, and that's what the ego wants. It wants things to be the way they are. And yet, Charles Fillmore also said, and Emily Cady also said, that it is our yearnings that is the nudge from God that is seeking to express more. So is it a yearning that I'm getting from ego or from spirit? Jerry says it can be both, because any of those yearning from spirit can also have a shadow side, something that may limit you. I was watching anybody watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? So the Sean Connery character and Indiana Jones, Indiana's dad, they had been seeking for decades the Holy Grail. And they finally find the Grail. The thing that they sought, that yearning, that deeper connection with spirit, they find it. And then someone tries to take it out beyond the seal. And this year in the mythology is it couldn't pass the seal. So in the earthquake, the Holy Grail, which is the cup, is right out of reach of Indiana Jones, and his dad's holding, and finally his dad says, Junior, let it go, and he can't hear him. He says, Indiana, let it go. His yearning was going to also be the death of him. The seeking, even though he found, was going to be the thing that destroyed him, because it was metaphysically that thing that stood between him. He had his power given into the cup rather than into the experience of what the cup held. And he let it go, and he was saved, and blah, blah, blah. So, being non-attached doesn't mean we're passive. Doesn't mean we're like wishy-washy. Oh, I don't care. It's all right. Whatever. You know, it's all good. Anybody been around a unity person who does no matter what happens? Oh, I don't care. It's all good. Oh, bull. Fill in the last part of that word. Oh, bull. It's not all good. Good may be available. Not everything's good in the relative world. Being not attached doesn't mean you give up having a life or opinion. You engage life fully. You engage your life, mind, body, and soul. The difference is you stay awake to what your attachments are costing you and be willing to let go of anything. Jerry used in his book, he used his struggle with cigarettes. And you could use anything. We'll just use Jerry's metaphor. And he kept struggling and he kept failing. Anybody try to let go of something ever and you failed at it and you kept failing at it and you kept failing at it? Yeah. And the ego is going to tell you, don't bother. Stay the same. Keep doing what you were doing because you can't fix it anyhow. Go back to my original statement, bull. Just because you fell short the first time, you probably on some of these beliefs, some of these habits, some of these addictions, you might have had them for most of your childhood and adult life. The idea that you think you could give something up like that is inconceivable. It's inconceivable that you could think you could just stop because, I've noticed that this is not necessarily the best thing for me. I'll just stop. And then you find yourself doing it. It's practice. All's when you fail at something, or you don't even really fail, it just doesn't go the way you think. It's just information about what you could do differently the next time. And the idea is get back up and keep going so that you create a new habit. I've been doing the Ogmandado work, the 10 Scrolls, the greatest salesman in the work. And his first one is, I will create new habits and become slaves to them. Well, I resisted that for a moment. And then I realized in his writing, he says, well, I've been a slave to my habit all my life. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create new habits that are good habits. I'll become slaves of those, and because they're good and I'm a slave to them, I will do them willingly. We just get back on, and we just keep going. I think so often our shortcomings, it's what I've experienced for myself. When I fall short, I just figure, why do I want to bother and why do I want to keep going? Why do I want to change when I know I can't do it anyhow? Jerry used the story from Winnie the Pooh of Edward the bear who follows the kid down the stairs, and he always bounces down the stairs. And at the bottom of the stairs, he says, I wish I knew how to go down the stairs some other way, but I don't know how because this is the only way I've ever done it. I thought, what a brilliant from a child's book. I've only done it a certain way, and so I'm going to know that I can walk downstairs when the only thing I've ever done is bounce downstairs. It reminds me of watching a little kid learn how to walk. A little kid who learns how to walk doesn't make up a story. I've used this one before, and Jerry uses it. They just fall down and get up. They normally giggle about it because they think the falling down is as fun as getting up, but they don't make up a story. We make a story up about something about failure makes us somehow wrong. So we just keep trying. From Ram Dass, one of my favorite first spiritual teachers. Back in the days, I didn't know I had spiritual teachers, and I had no idea what he was talking about, but he was still one of my favorite, and I figured if I just hang in there for a few more decades, I'd probably figure out what he said. I make the effort to maintain a ground of oceanic silence out of which arises the multitude of phenomena of daily life. I make the effort to see, to passionately open in love to spirit that infuses all things. I make the effort to see the beloved in everyone and to serve the beloved through everyone, including the earth. I often fail in these aspirations because I lose balance between separateness and unity, get lost in my separateness, and feel afraid. But I make the effort. We continue to make the effort. And one last thing, we listen to the stories we make up, but something I've said before, be careful who you allow in and that you listen to, because we often listen to these stories that other people make up about us. They define us. And if we listen to them, we can shift our opinion to other people's ideas of who we actually are and how we participate in the world. I went and saw a doctor not too long ago, and they didn't know me. They had never seen me before. All they saw was my medical file. My medical file's pretty big. I have cardiomyopathy. I have end-stage kidney disease. I had enlarged prostate, which I fixed. I have a defibrillator on my heart. I have this. I have that. She was expecting me to be wheeled in a wheelchair, kind of bent over, frail, and I come dancing in the door going, yeah, what's up? And she's like, well, that's not what I expected, because I don't listen to the stories about how I'm supposed to be based on somebody's opinion about me. In fact, when Robin went back to Minnesota, I still love this. And they said, and it's that soft puppy dog eyes that you get when people feel real sympathetic, not empathetic for you. It's like, how's Ray? I'm like, she's like, yeah, he's fine. He's like, well, now that he can't work, how's he doing now that he's disabled? And she goes, have you met my husband ever? So I had to make him stay home after he got out of the hospital, and he hasn't taken a day off since. We don't listen to the stories. So it's kind of like what I love about silent unity. Silent unity will listen with you with the ears and the heart, but they don't buy into any of it. If you call silent unity on the phone, you talk to one of our prayer chaplains. They don't buy into your story. Yep, I know that's what you think you have. Now here's the truth. And they pray into what they know. That's the person to listen to. When you forget who you are, listen to the person who remembers who you are and listen to them. Yeah, I don't got much else to say. So there's an outline from the Course in the Miracles that I think is, for me, is one of the most powerful. Be vigilant only for the kingdom of God. Be willing. You don't have to let go of anything. You don't have to release anything. You don't have to do anything. What you have to be is willing. You have to be willing to let go of everything. And in that paradox of being willing to let go of everything, you actually get the kingdom of heaven laid at your doorstep for you to play in. I love you. I bless you. I behold the living presence of God in each of you. Namaste.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
And so now, as we say thank you to Tyrone and to Rev Ray, for sharing your gifts with us today. And as we begin to share our gifts, knowing that we are a prosperous community filled with love, and letting that energy of prosperity flow in and through each of us, to do the work that is our mission and vision at Unity of Louisville. I'm going to invite our board president, Chuck Fulner, up.
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? You know, when you get to be a certain age and you know you're going to talk for more than 2 or 3 minutes, it's better to sit down. So that's what I'm doing. Our board recently decided that it's time for us to be transparent once again about where we are on our prosperity plan for the congregation. So I'm going to share a few facts with you this morning, and then maybe ask for a few commitments. I'll have to look at my notes as I go, but we'll make this as succinct as possible. It has been the practice over the last few years this has been a board sanctioned practice, to use the earnings from the investments held by the Unity of Louisville Foundation, formerly known as the Anderson Fund, in order to balance out our income and expenses. That has been a deliberate, conscious choice that I have taken part of as a member of the board. Your new board that took office in March has decided to move on to what would be considered a best practice. And by that I mean we're going to leave those earnings in the Unity of Louisville Foundation's investments, so they'll be there in the future when we need them for emergencies, for growth purposes, and for renovations not otherwise anticipated. Like all decisions, that decision has certain consequences. So while acknowledging that the Divine Spirit can only do for us what she can do through us, there are certain requests I have of you today. The first is, if you currently make your contributions to Unity of Louisville by check, I'm going to, as I do, I'm going to ask you to convert to something called committed giving. There are little white sheets in your pews that have a form for committed giving. Nope, that's not it. Yes, Robert is holding one up right now that you could fill out and turn into Val, after the service, or put it in her mailbox. Here's the value of that. That will stabilize your giving and move away from the vagaries that occur with inclement weather, vacations, travel, and other interests like local sports, such as the University of Louisville's women's basketball team, which takes many of us away on Sunday afternoons and we don't show up. So to steady out that contribution, I'm going to ask those of you who support us by check to give great consideration to doing it by committed giving. Here's another factoid worth understanding and worth an ask from me. About 20% of the people who attend our services on a regular basis do not make any financial contribution to our support. If you're in that number, I'm going to first ask you to prayerfully consider whether or not you can reprioritize how you spend your money to begin to make a small donation, to begin to make an effort to help us support what's going on here. Okay. Please note that we are making a major effort to increase our rental and fee income. We've been doing that for several months now, and it's beginning to show up. We cannot yet predict what that rental fee income is going to be realistically in the future. So if everyone who attends our Sunday service could add $4 to $5 per week to their contribution, we would be in great shape. At $4 per person who attends every week increase, we would be able to meet all of our obligations. At $5 per person per week increase, we would be in tall cotton, able to set aside some money for reserves, for those little things that creep up from time to time. I also wanted to note that beginning today in downstairs, you can make a one-time contribution using a debit card or a credit card by swiping it through a machine that we have. After this week, that machine will be available upstairs at the rear of the sanctuary. So if you are moved by what you've heard or just by general principles and would like to make another one-time contribution, you can do that conveniently. Okay. If you're not in a position to increase your financial support or begin financial support level, I would ask that you please contact Reverend Gwen or Reverend Val to find out how you might help us through a commitment of time to help support what we do here. Time is as important as treasure. Right now, we're focusing a little bit on treasure. Okay. Sixth, if you're watching on our live stream broadcast, please go to our website, unityoflouisville.org, and make a contribution there. Thank you. Okay, if you are active on Facebook, if you would please share any posts that you see there to be seen by your family and friends. We have long said that unity, when it comes to a spiritual home, unity is the best kept secret in the city of Louisville. We would like to change that so that we are the best known place in the city of Louisville when it comes to being a wonderful spiritual home for all of us, no matter where we are on our individual spiritual journey. In the near future, over the course of the next 3 to 4 months, members of the board of directors will be inviting you to participate in some small group discussions on 3 separate topics. The first being where we are on our prosperity plan right now. The second on the implementation of our strategic plan, which has a lot of effort for growth and sustainability in this building and as a congregation. And then the third thing we will be meeting in small groups about is the plans for renovation of our physical plant to sustain ourselves well into the future. Which brings me up to my last ask, which is this. There is a community meeting scheduled for Sunday, June 24th, right after the service here in the sanctuary, where the architects from JRA architect firm will make a presentation regarding the plans they've developed along with us to renovate, repair, and prepare our physical plant for the future, for the next 50 years. That's going to be an opportunity to ask detailed questions of the architects. We will not be asking a vote. We will not be making any decision on go, no go with that opportunity, but it is a great time for you to be present and understand what the future could be in our buildings and be able to ask detailed questions of the experts who have put that together. Last, I'll be downstairs at the welcome desk drinking a cup of coffee, happy to answer any questions you may have about anything that I have said this morning and to give me feedback about what your thoughts are on all of these issues. So again, we are a prosperous community. We are making a change in how we define that prosperity and how we manage it in the near future. And we have lots of issues that we need to deal with over the course of the next 4 to 6 months. I'm asking you to participate as best you can. We need your best thinking. We need your input as we make important decisions on a go-forward basis. And we value what each and every one of you think. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time this morning. Come downstairs and talk to me if you want.
Thank you, Chuck. And thank you to the board for making those hard choices and those fun, challenging opportunities to grow. And so now as we continue to give our love and light, let's take our gifts into our hand and infuse them as we say our prosperity proclamation together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so now, as we send these gifts of love out into the universe, let us do our prosperity affirmation together. We are stewards of divine abundance. We give and receive with gratitude. And so it is. Amen. I'm going to keep it short. We have coffee, tea, and Reverend Ray downstairs in the chapel immediately following service. If you guys have any questions for Ray, he'll be there just to talk, chat, whatever it is you need. Unity in the park this afternoon, 3 o'clock, the base of the walking bridge in Waterfront Park. We're wearing our t-shirts, and bring your own chair. Come and join us for some fun in the sun. And now, as our children come forward, please stand, and we'll sing I Am Love.
I am love, I am God's promise and the hope of peace on earth, shining bright today and tomorrow. I am the light of God. today and tomorrow. You are the light of God. We are love, we are God's promise and the hope of peace on earth, shining bright today and tomorrow. We are the light of God.
Hi, my name is Darren. I am a member of the youth and family team, and we have an affirmation that we're going to say together, and we'd like you to repeat it after us.
I'll say it with them.
I'm a creation of
God,
therefore I am good.
Do we all hear that?
Yes, I am a
Okay.
creation of God, therefore I am good. Want to say it together?
Yes.
I am a creation of God, therefore I am good. Woo-hoo.
Speaking of creations, we got a lot of cool things going on. Next Sunday, yesterday, the teens got together with us and we did some artwork. And we are going to teach this painting technique next Sunday after church. There's a sign-up sheet downstairs. The cost for materials is $25. If you do paint, wear some clothes that this is a very messy style of painting. We've also made some changes, some exciting changes for our summer camp this year. It's a space theme. We're going to go to the planetarium again. But what we're doing differently, we were inspired by the Montessori school that we're going to be starting. So we're going to approach summer camp in that way and allow kids to have the freedom to choose what they want to participate in as far as activities. So we're going to have 3 classrooms going at all times, and they get to choose what they want to do for as long as they want to do it. So it's really different as far as summer camps had in the past, and we're excited. So come out and join us next week, and we're always, we don't turn children away, so we're always looking for scholarships. So that's it. Thanks.
And so now, let us do our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And now for our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be the joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
Namaste.